Have you ever imagined that love can run you over in the middle of the street without warning? August and Dalila, a billionaire CEO focused only on business, never thought that he would cross paths with Delilah Parker, an ordinary and dreamy girl, and that it would change everything. This story goes beyond romance. It's about how unexpected encounters can turn your life upside down and open doors you didn't even know existed. Want to find out how a stumble in everyday life can push you straight to your biggest challenge? Come with me, because this journey promises to surprise even those who think they've seen it all. Chapter 1: Unexpected Encounter and Confusing Robberies. The encounters that life pushes us without warning. August and Dalila, a billionaire CEO, was not used to losing control. But that day, in the middle of a busy street, there was Delilah Parker, holding her cell phone like a rebellious reporter, ready to take photos he would never authorize. He, known for his coldness, gave him a sharp look, but deep down, August knew there was something magnetic there. Imagine a man who dominates meeting rooms, being dismantled by an unknown young woman in the middle of the sidewalk. Life has these ironies, and it is in these ironies that the real plot unfolds. It didn't take long for chaos to ensue. Screams, accusations of invasion of privacy, Delilah saying she just wanted to record a moment, and August accusing her of being a busybody. In the middle of this mess, wallets changed, bags falling to the ground, people looking askew. And want to know the lesson here? Sometimes, the unexpected is the only way life finds to put you on the right path. When you're stuck in traffic or in an awkward situation, think, isn't this preparing you for something bigger like August and Delilah did? The magic of these encounters is in what they awaken in us. August, for example, who has always lived at the top, felt for the first time in years that butterflies in his stomach that only the unknown causes. Delilah, on the other hand, saw in that powerful man a challenge and, who knows, a bridge to enter a world completely different from her own. And here's a practical tip. When you find someone who challenges you, instead of running away, approach it. It is in these challenges that we grow. Want a real example? Great businessmen like Richard Branson thrived just like that, facing chaos. And in the midst of all this confusion, there was something that not even August could ignore. Delilah had courage, and courage is a rare currency in the corporate world. When you realize that life has put someone brave in your path, look closely. There is always something to learn. And that's how, in the midst of fights, scattered bags, crossed glances, and nervous interjections, the story began. And as every good mentor would say, stories like this never stop there, because when one thread is pulled, another soon appears. And in this case, the next thread led straight to the world of dubbing and fandom, where Will Spencer shone. Chapter 2: The World of Dubbing and Fandom. Delilah Parker always had a different sparkle in her eye when it came to dubbing. Ever since she was a little girl, she was enchanted by hearing the voices behind her favorite characters, and among all, Will Spencer was her true idol. Just imagine, that young woman, sitting in the middle of the crowd at a fan meeting, vibrating with emotion just by hearing his voice live. It's as if Will's every word is a reminder to Delilah that dreams are palpable. And don't think this is just a silly hobby. No, the world of fandom can teach you about passion, dedication, and connection like few other environments can. The interesting thing about the fan universe is that it forms real communities, even when it seems all virtual. Delilah, for example, was not just a passive spectator. She actively participated in forums, produced content, and even organized local fan meetups. If you've ever had an idol, you know the power it has. It inspires, pushes, gives direction. Want a practical example? Many voice actors, such as Will Spencer, began their careers encouraged precisely by fans who believed in them before any studio gave them a chance. This cycle of mutual support is what drives passions and creates solid careers. Delilah knew every line, every intonation characteristic of Will, and this passion overflowed into her daily life. So much so that when she finally took the stage at an event and had the chance to interact with him, she couldn't hold back her tears. And, mind you, it wasn't just because I was a fan. It was because that moment represented years of silent dedication, of nights practicing voices and imagining one day being part of that world. For those who dream of entering the area, my tip is simple. Start exposing yourself, record short audios, post online, participate in groups. Real example? Many TikTok and YouTube talents started this way, and today they are in the biggest studios. The curious detail here is that, while Delilah lived these emotions on stage, August Zenon watched her from a distance, without fully understanding the fascination she felt for that universe. For August, business was business, and passion was something he had buried long ago. Little did he know that Delilah's vibrant energy would pull him down an unexpected path, opening doors to opportunities he never imagined, including an assistant position that would come almost by chance, but was about to change both of their lives. Chapter 3: An Unexpected Assistant Vacancy. Who knew that August Zenon, the impenetrable billionaire, would end up offering an assistant position to Delilah Parker? He himself was surprised by the decision, but something about this young woman captivated him. Maybe it was her boldness, or maybe it was that energy he could no longer find in the cold business world. Delilah, on the other hand, grabbed the opportunity tooth and nail. After all, working for August wasn't just a job. It was the chance to get closer to the world of audio, of which Will Spencer was a part. And look how life surprises. Opportunities rarely appear the way we expect, but they always push us in the direction we need. Delilah did not have an impressive resume, nor years of secretarial experience. What she had was a will. And believe me, a well-directed will is worth more than diplomas framed on the wall. I always say to anyone who asks me about opportunities, be prepared to grab what comes your way, even if it seems to be outside of your original plan. Want a practical example? Many successful professionals started out as assistants or interns in fields completely different from their own, only to later migrate to the positions they really wanted. The key is not to be afraid to be versatile. In the early days, Delilah discovered that working for August was a real emotional training ground. He was demanding, detail-oriented, and had a very sharp radar to detect incompetence. But get this, it is in high-pressure environments that we find out what we are really made of. If you've ever been in a similar situation, you know there's no point in complaining. It's all about learning to adapt quickly. My tip? Look for tools and quick courses on organization and productivity. Examples? Apps like Trello or Notion can turn your chaotic routine into something manageable. The most curious thing is that, deep down, August tested Delilah more out of curiosity than out of necessity. He wanted to see how far this girl could go, how far her passion for Will Spencer and the world of audio could turn into real competence. And, as every good mentor already knows, when two seemingly opposite forces meet, something interesting always happens. In their case, this would pave the way for intense and emotional conflicts within the Tangerine FM company, where contracts, tensions, and negotiations were about to test everything Delilah had been learning. Chapter 4: Conflicts at Work and Emotional Tensions. At Tangerine FM, the mood was an explosive mix of genius and competition. August Zenon and his partner, Lynn Morales, were like fire and ice. Where August was strategic and meticulous, Lynn was impulsive and passionate. Delilah Parker, in the middle of this cauldron, quickly learned that being an assistant did not mean just serving coffee. She began to realize that she was often the bridge between the two titans, translating ideas, calming tempers, and even proposing solutions that no one expected. Want a practical example? Imagine being in a meeting where August wants to cut costs while Lynn wants to invest heavily in new talent, including voice actors like Will Spencer. Delilah had to find the middle ground. Don't think it was easy. Each decision seemed to carry enormous weight, and the emotional pressure often made her question whether she was in the right place. But here's a secret that few tell. It is precisely in these situations that someone's true value appears. Do you know what you can do to train this skill? Start studying negotiation and conflict resolution. Books like How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie or Negotiate Like Your Life Depended on It by Chris Voss are excellent for understanding the emotional games behind each conversation. Delilah, intuitively, was already beginning to apply these lessons. August observed, even without admitting it, that Delilah had something special. It wasn't just courage, it was a rare emotional cleverness, that ability to notice what no one says out loud. When Lynn got angry or when a contract was on the verge of falling apart, it was Delilah who intervened with a sharp comment or a practical suggestion. And here's another practical tip for you. Practice active listening. Stop thinking about the answer while the other person is talking. Really listen, observe expressions, tones of voice. This is exactly what allowed Delilah to be more than a simple assistant. But, as always happens when working too close to the fire, something began to change. The professional bond between August and Delilah began to shuffle with unexpected emotions. A longer touch, an exchanged look during a heated argument, and, without them realizing it, the corporate environment became the stage for something much more personal. The emotional tension signaled that it wasn't just about contracts and business. It was about to turn into an unexpected romance, full of vulnerability, where kisses and revelations awaited in the next chapter. Chapter 5: Romance, Vulnerability, and Revelations. It's curious how the heart plays tricks when we least expect it. August Zenon, always so composed, began to realize that Delilah Parker moved him in a way that no contract or negotiation had ever done. At first, they were just subtle moments, an accidental touch in the recording room, an exchange of glances during a tense meeting, a smile that escaped when Delilah fumbled with the papers. But, as any attentive mentor would tell you, the detail lives in the small. And if you've ever fallen in love at work, you know, you can't just turn off your heart when you cross the office door. Delilah, in turn, was divided. She wanted to be taken seriously, to show August, Lynn Morales, and even herself that she deserved that space. But the heart doesn't usually follow scripts. When the two ended up stuck alone in a night recording, with the accumulated tension of the last few weeks, it was as if the universe pushed the two to an inevitable moment, an unexpected kiss, loaded with pent-up emotions. Want a real-world example? Many creative partnerships, such as Tim Burton and Helena Bonham Carter, started out like this, with tension and mutual respect that eventually turned into romance. What came after, however, was not a simple fairy tale. August struggled to maintain professionalism, while Delilah tried not to be swallowed up by insecurities. She constantly asked herself, "Am I here because I'm good at what I do, or because he's in love with me?" This dilemma is common in any relationship that mixes work and emotion, and my tip for those who go through it is clear: set limits. Want a hands-on exercise? Write down on a sheet of paper 3 things you want to preserve in your professional life, even when personal emotions are at stake. Visualizing helps you stay focused. And as they tried to navigate this sea of vulnerabilities, the world around them did not stop. There were contracts to sign, events to organize, projects to deliver. And, above all, there was an entire universe in which Delilah still dreamed of asserting herself, the competitive world of audio, where names like Will Spencer reigned supreme. It was time to grow up, to face real challenges, to show that she could overcome criticism and really mature. Chapter 6: Overcoming and Maturing. At first, Delilah Parker thought that passion and effort would be enough. But he soon discovered that the audio world was cruel to those who were not prepared. August Zenon, observing from afar, saw in her the energy of someone who wanted to win, but also the insecurity of someone who had never faced harsh criticism. She received feedback that left her sleepless nights, voices not aligned, technical glitches, tight deadlines. Do you want to know a secret that few tell? Every great professional has had to swallow their pride and hear difficult truths. Real examples? Even Will Spencer, his idol, has told in interviews how many times he was rejected before becoming famous. Delilah decided that she would not just be a dreamer. She wanted to be competent. So, she looked for online courses, watched tutorials, studied books on vocal techniques, and professional audio. For those who want to follow a similar path, I recommend platforms like Udemy or Domestika, which offer practical courses for beginners. She began to apply small tricks in her daily life, such as better controlling her breathing on recordings or using software like Audacity to clean sounds. The magic was in turning every mistake into a learning opportunity, something every mentor would say was the real difference between those who move forward and those who stop along the way. August, always attentive, saw in her a transformation that even he did not expect. The young woman who used to stumble over words began to become a reference in the team. It was no longer just the clumsy assistant who idolized Will Spencer. She was a professional on the rise, with her own voice and the courage to impose herself. A curious detail? Often, August would test Delilah just to see how she would react, and each time she surprised, he felt a growing admiration. Do you want to apply something similar in your life? Ask for honest feedback from someone you respect and accept with an open heart. This simple exercise can reveal blind spots you never imagined. As Delilah climbed the steps of maturation, she knew that the road was still long. Each achievement was accompanied by a new challenge, and the competitive world did not forgive slips. But now, there was a difference. She no longer ran away from difficulties. She was ready to face them, even if it meant questioning her own path, her feelings for August, and even her role in front of idols like Will Spencer. And it is then, precisely at this turning point, that stories like hers stop being just about work and begin to touch something much deeper, something that goes straight to the heart of those who watch. Have you ever stopped to think about how many incredible opportunities you've let slip away just out of fear or distraction? How many times has fate given you a push, as it did August and Delilah, and you just didn't notice? Maybe it's time to take a closer look at unexpected encounters, challenges at work, and even passions that you consider impossible. I ask you, are you willing to step out of your comfort zone and embrace the chaos that can transform your life? Or will you continue to wait for everything to happen at the perfect time? If you want to continue learning how to turn stories into practical lessons for your own journey, subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications. There's a lot more waiting for you here.